Again, we've been in the Snapchat series, and it's been a good series so far. I've had a lot of good conversations with students that were really touched by God, just in regards to their relationships and having meaningful relationships, and that's the whole purpose of this series. Last week we talked about everybody having temptation and everybody going through times that they're going to give in to that temptation, but the more people that you have around you, the less temptation you're going to give into. Now, we all have temptation. We all have things that trip us up. We all have things that we're weak in. For some of us, it's guys. For some, it's girls. For some, it's cussing. Some of it is drugs and alcohol. And there's different temptations that trip us up and that can eventually ruin our lives. But we talked about in 2 Timothy where it says, run from anything that stimulates youthful lust. Okay, run from anything that takes you away from God and doesn't help your relationship with Him. Also it says, but pursue, which basically means run from, but run to, okay, righteous living, faithfulness, love, and peace. Okay, so we should follow after those things. Okay, I know it's a phone, but it's okay. You got to pay attention up here. So you run from anything that stimulates youthful lust. You run to godly things. Okay, so there's this whole mentality of putting off things, putting on things. Okay, if you're not running to something, you're eventually going to run back to your sin. That's just what we naturally are going to do. So we got to run to righteous living, faithfulness, love, peace. And then it says, and enjoy the companionship of those who call on the Lord with pure hearts. That verse is all together. And there's a reason why it's all together. It's a whole lot easier to run from something and run to something else with other people. What gets you guys and what got me and what got all of the adults in trouble most of the time in our life are the people that we hang out with. The people that we roll with. The people that we spend the most time with. That we have to understand that it's going to go like Psalm 1. We mentioned Psalm 1 where it says, oh, the joys of those who do not follow the advice of the wicked. So you're following or stand around with sinners. Okay, so you're going from following to standing with them. And then it says, or joining with the mockers. Okay, so it's eventually going to be, whoever you're following, that's eventually what you're going to be doing later on in life. And so you got to understand that every one of us has temptation. And you have to evaluate, who are the people that I hang out with most of the time? Now, does that mean that you totally neglect non-Christians? No. But does that mean that you go and hang out with non-Christians all the time without somebody that claims to know the Lord to hold you accountable to do that? You do not do that. You bring somebody with you. You have someone hold you accountable. It's not worth you trying to reach out to everybody all by yourself, and then guess what's going to happen? You're going to get sucked in. And you're going to say, Ben, well, how do you know that? Because we're in the world. This is not our home. Sin is going to drag us in. It's that simple. Unless you have some people that are, they're helping you with it, it's going to be bad for you. And so we're talking about accountability in this series. We're talking about small groups. We're talking about living past momentary relationships and this whole Snapchat thing of I'm going to view a picture for 6 seconds and then it eventually goes away. And that's how a lot of your relationships are. Not many of us have very meaningful relationships. We have a bunch of acquaintances. We think that because we have 2,000 Facebook friends that we really do have 2,000 Facebook friends, 2,000 friends, and we don't. It's not about how many people are following us, but who are we following after? Do we follow our friends or do we follow the Father? Are we going their way or are we going His way? We got to understand that in order to not go their way, we got to have people in our lives pouring into us. And see, a lot of people, they're not all that in with the whole small group, with the whole accountability. They have this attitude like, hey, you know what, man, I can handle my life by myself. Don't be telling me how to live my life, okay? God gave me this life. I can handle it. I can do things. I can control everything. And it's those people who have that attitude that you are eventually going to not just fall, but you're going to die. And you're going to fall hard. Because if you're going in so hard after people and you're trying to get the approval of people, okay, people are going to bring you down. They're going to tear you down. And I hope you're not that kind of a person. I hope you're not the kind of person that thinks you have all the answers, that you don't need anybody to help you, that you don't need anybody to walk beside you and help you live a life that is godly, to hold you accountable to the things that you put up on Instagram and on Facebook. I see so many people that claim to follow Christ, and I'm friends with them, that they're shooting birds, they're cussing people out, they put on scandalous pictures, they take scandalous pictures, they're doing all these different things, but they claim to follow Christ. So the reason why is because they don't have anybody helping them. And it's not necessarily, it's sort of their fault, but at the same time, it's sort of your fault for not helping them because you see the things that they're doing, and you're not man or woman enough to say, listen, what you're doing is really hurting the kingdom. It's hurting you. It's making you look like a bunch of hypocrites. And it's killing the church. It's killing Christ because of the things that you are doing. You see, I was that way. I didn't want anybody to tell me what to do. I had my parents for that. One of my favorite sayings when I was your age is, you ain't my mama. You ain't my daddy. And it just killed me. That is, until my real daddy, Christ, came and rocked my world. And he broke me to my knees. I take that back to my face, where I was broken. And in that moment, I knew that he loved me, that he cared about me. And the other thing that I learned in that same exact moment was this: Ben, I'm going to give you your first helper. And his name is Holy Spirit. So the Holy Spirit comes inside of me. I'm convicted by all the sin that I had committed. And it just tore me to shreds. And then he told me this. He said, not only am I going to give you the Holy Spirit, I'm also going to give you people to walk with you. Because let me just tell you, if it wasn't for the people that I was starting to hang out with, I don't know where I'd be. Because if Christ has radically changed your life, you are going to change who you hang out with. You're going to change your relationships. You're not going to care what people think about you because you want to be more like Christ instead of more like the world. And you're going to tell people that you struggle with pornography. You're going to tell people that you struggle with sexual sin, that you struggle with cussing, that you struggle with alcohol and drugs, that you struggle with disrespecting your teachers, your parents, or anybody that's in authority, anything that God says not to do or God says do and you don't do. Then it's going to hurt you. It's going to break your heart. And you must understand that you must have people in your life. Now, I say all that to say that there's this one big major thing that's the first fill in the blank in your outline that I want you to really get. If you don't hear anything else I say, this is the big all, catch-all thing here, okay? Now, what I'm about to give you is a proverb, okay? I'm glad it's not up there yet. It's a proverb, which basically means it's a general statement, okay? The book of Proverbs kind of gives things like, if you do this, then this is going to happen, or those who do this, then this is the result, okay? So it's a general thing. I'm not saying that if, I kind of am. I kind of think this is for everybody, okay? But I don't want to, I want to make this statement really broad, but at the same time I want to make it really specific, and I'm gonna funnel this thing to make it specific by the end of the message. But here's the big thing, okay, that you really need to write down, okay? Grab a pen, look down at your outline. If you don't have an outline, go ahead and get one because this is going to help you out a lot, okay? Here's the very first one. Loners are goners. Very good. Thank you for getting up. And we'll keep it up for a while. Loners are goners. Now, I don't want you to think of loners as what we know it to be. When we think of loners, we think of people that are, and just frank, honest, are those who listen to the heavy metal rock, that they're not around anybody, they're kind of recluse. But let me just go ahead and tell you what I mean right here. The most popular kid in your school could be a loner. You could be one of the most popular kids in your school, and you're a loner. Why? Because you don't want anybody in your life to help you with your walk. You want to handle things all by yourself. But let me just tell you this, is that you cannot fully live out the Christian life without people in your life. You just can't do it. For those who are alone, they're done. I see it time and time and time again. Travis, our worship pastor, is one of my best friends. He told me a story in small group a couple years ago, and he said, listen, there was a professor at the seminary I went to, Southern Seminary, which is in Louisville, Kentucky. He said, this guy, I looked up to him so much. He went on mission trips all the time. And he was he frequently visited India, and he went to India a lot. And he would always ask his professor, hey, is there any way I could go with you? And he's like, I don't know. That's kind of a big trip, it's a lot, blah, 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 blah. Just every year, with just some kind of excuse, why Travis couldn't go. Now, this is a professor, okay? He was a doctor such and such. I don't remember his name. But there came a day, because Travis was friends with his son, and his son called him and said, Travis, I need to talk to you. And he said, wow, okay. He said, hey, man, my dad's been having an affair with a woman in India. And he's gone. He's abandoned all of us. And I'm just tore up. He starts crying. And Travis's friend told him, he said, you know what, I've always wanted to be like my dad in the pastoral side. He's a great speaker, just a man of the word, just knew the word backwards, forwards, sideways, And Travis was like, yeah, I know this guy. He looked up to him and that kind of thing. He said, but now my mentality is I don't want to be like him as a pastor. I want to be like him as a father and as a husband. So let me just tell you something. I don't care if you're on a leadership team. I'm talking to me, even myself. We all need people because this guy just didn't have anybody. Obviously so. He didn't want to get caught in his sin. But eventually it came crashing down. And he's gone. He never came back. He's still in India for all I know. And it's all because he didn't have anyone to help him. Now, the author of Hebrews. Now, many scholars believe that Paul is the author of Hebrews, but this is the only book of the Bible where we're not certain about who the author is. And so, for, most people that say, hey, the author of Hebrews, the reason why is because we don't know who the author is, okay? But the author of Hebrews really talked about this as far as perseverance and living out the Christian walk in Hebrews chapter 10, which are the verses that we're going to be focusing on this evening. Okay, so I want you to read along with me in your outline. Okay, and it says this, and let us consider how we may spur, underline that's the theme of the whole thing tonight, how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. Now, the last part of that sentence, okay, is basically saying, hey, the time is coming when Jesus is coming back, which is why day is capitalized. Okay, it's quickly approaching, and because it's quickly approaching, then we should spur one another along with love and good deeds, and we should meet together. Because some people are in the habit of not meeting together, but as we meet together, we should what? Encourage one another. See, the point of this service, the point of small groups, the point of Bible studies, the point of getting together with any kind of group in order to learn more about Christ and His Word and through prayer is to encourage each other. Why? Why do we need encouragement? Because that world out there, there's more people out there that care more about themselves and more about their sin than they do about Christ. And so we need to come together in times like this, in small group, in accountability, in order to spur each other along. Now, the major word here in this verse that we're focusing on is spur, okay? That's our big verb, okay? Spur. Okay, where are my horse lovers out here? Anybody loving horses? Okay, yes, I know, yeah. Horse lovers, okay? So I found a picture of a spur because I'm not a very big horse guy. I mean, I like to ride them, but they kind of scare me a little bit. But here's a picture of a spur, okay? Put it up there. Spur? Yeah, okay. So you got, the left side is the actual, and this is like on the boot, okay? So, all right, I want you to tell me, because I know you ride horses a lot, okay? What does the spur do? Make the horse go faster, right? Yeah. Is that the only thing that the spur does? I'm asking because out of ignorance. Huh? It hurts the horse. Like, bad? Yeah. How hard you do it, right? Cool. You know what? I would love to have a spur up here. And like, whenever you guys, aren't living the life, I'll just go, pow, that'd be so awesome. You know what I mean? But like, so the spur, right, is to motivate, is to get the horse to go. To giddy up, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so you got this, you see it on the boot here, okay? And so what they do is they slap the sides of the horse to make the horse say, ow, that hurts, I'm wanting them to stop, so I'm just going to keep running faster because it's eventually going to go away, and eventually does not go away until you're done with the race. You know what I mean? Okay, and so it's kind of one of those things like, I know we've been doing this whole ice bucket challenge, you know what I'm saying? And like, I think it would be cool to just do raise your hand if you've done the ice bucket challenge. Anybody done the ice bucket challenge? Okay, raise your hand keep your hands raised if it really hurt you, like the ice and the water that was so cold that it hurt. Like, that was me. Like, it hurt me so bad because I had not one but 2 buckets full of ice and water. Okay, it was terrible. But like, what if we did a spur challenge? That'd be so awesome, wouldn't it? Like, who can take the most spurs? You know what I'm saying? You give money to charity and those kind. I think we're going to start that. Okay, we should start that right there. Tweet that. Okay, spur challenge. Hashtag spur challenge. Okay, no, I'm just joking. No, but the whole point here is the whole point of spur. Okay, in this context here is to motivate, to stimulate, to stir up. Like, if I could stir you up and have you and make you and help you have a passion for God, a passion for Christ, a passion for living for Him. I wish I could physically hurt some of you guys sometimes so that you would do that. I really do. Like, I wish I could, like, make you feel really bad when you are not living a life for Christ. But guess what? That's not what this passage is telling me to do. It says to spur each other along with love and good deeds. And then it says, but how do you do that? Well, that's through the church. That's the reason why we come. That's the reason why you're sitting here. It's not to check off. For some of you, it's to check off that you went to church. But the whole point that I'm trying to do, or the point that we're trying to get at, is encouraging each other. That we need to encourage each other to what? Love and good deeds through the church. Now, does that mean that we can all, 100 plus of us, spur each other along to love and good deeds? Yeah, possibly, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard to go through every single person. It would take a long time to really encourage you because, why is that? Well, because Sawyer's different than Riley, and the way I encourage Sawyer is different with Riley, and it's different with Jacob and with Josh and with everybody. Okay, so I have to kind of figure that out. It's a whole lot easier, right, to encourage someone that's in a small group. Now you don't have 100 plus people, you have a group of 12 or 15. But what makes it even better is when you have accountability with one person. Like Jacob Witt, okay? That's the guy that I mentor, okay? He's the one that wants to be discipled, and me and him have a connection. We're into sports, okay? So who do I really, really, really pour into Jacob. And it's really easy for me to do that because I can learn Jacob. I know his likes, his dislikes. I know how to approach him, how not to approach him, what kind of makes him tick and what makes him ticked off at me. Like, I know those things, right? And other people, okay? Heath, right? His accountability, his discipler is Travis. Okay, Riley, okay, has Jamie. Okay, Young has Cole. Okay, and there are different people in here that hold other people accountable. Okay, Riley, okay, pours into Casey, accountability. He also pours into Ethan. Okay, all right. Some of the other older high schoolers. Okay, some of you guys need to pour into somebody because you have enough knowledge. You ain't got to be this genius to pour into somebody, to love on somebody, to encourage somebody, to spur them along to love and good deeds. I wish every single person in this room had somebody that was more mature in their faith, discipling them or holding them accountable. Do you know how much sin would be wiped away if we simply had every person in this room have someone that was pouring into them? But the problem is that a lot of you don't want to be poured into. You just don't. And I'm just going to tell you something. Just coming to church ain't going to cut it. There's a reason why 88% of graduating high school seniors leave the church once they go to college. It's because they did not have anybody pouring into them, and or they weren't pouring into somebody else. And they just got sick and tired of it, sitting through the lights and all the PowerPoints and all the music, and it just got old. And so each and every one of us needs that. But let me just tell you something. When somebody asked me, Jamie Strutton, one of my friends, came into the room the other day, in my office the other day, and he said, "Hey man, you want the bad news or the good news first?" Now every time, if you ever come up to me and say, "Ben, you want the bad news or the good news?" I'm always going to go bad news first. I love to end on a good note. I like to go ahead and get the badness out of the way. Okay, so I'm like, every time it's bad first. I want the bad news first. Okay, and I don't know if you're that way, but that's the way I am, and I'm teaching this lesson. So this is what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to talk about 3 different things that are kind of the bad news in regards to community and accountability. And then we're going to end on a positive note, okay? So we're going to start with 3 cautions with committing to community. Okay, there's 3 cautions that you must understand, and I want you to write these down, okay, because these are very important as we talk about the importance of spurring each other along to love and good deeds. Here's number 1. Living in close relationship with others can be difficult. Living in close relationship with others can be difficult. Why? Because there are many different personalities that people have. There are many different attitudes that people have. And so when you are working with someone or someone's holding you accountable or you're whatever, it's kind of difficult. Because you want them to treat you one way, and they think that you need to be treated another way, and the 2 things, clash and collide, and you get in an argument, and then you say, "I don't want anybody to pour into me. This is my life." And it's hard. And there will be times that you will want to smack them, or to cuss them out, or whatever, because it's hard living in a close relationship with someone. It just is. But you must, in order to grow, in order to become all that God wants you to be, the man of God, the woman of God that you need to be, you have to have someone that's going to push your buttons. Because there's going to be people in your life to push your buttons, whether you like it or not. So if you can go ahead and start now, even middle school, have somebody that is kind of in your face and calls out your sin, and helps you along in your walk and encourages you and says, "Hey, man, what you did was not good, was not godly, was not holy," the better you will be when you get my age. I promise. And so when someone comes up to you and they make you mad, okay, the one thing that you're going to learn is patience, okay? Ephesians 4, look along with me. Ephesians 4, verses 2 and 3, it says, "Always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's fault because of your love. Make every effort to keep yourselves united in the Spirit, binding yourselves together with peace." And so it's very important that I know that you want to punch them in their face. I know you want to cuss them out. And when you do, I need you to understand that God doesn't cuss us out. God doesn't punch us in our face every time that He gets impatient with us. And if you're like me, He gets impatient with me every day. My sin gets on His nerves every day because I read His Word, I'm around people, I pray, but I still fall. And He's probably looking at me saying, "Ben, you're a pastor and you still?" But the times that I find that I sin less often is when I have someone holding me accountable, spurring me along to love and good deeds. So first, living in close relationship with others can be difficult. Number 2, committing to a group or a person isn't easy. Now, I underline committing for a reason. I think the problem, and I was talking to a friend today, and he said, "You know what the big problem with teenagers these days? From middle school all the way through college. is commitment. Y'all don't want to be committed because if somebody ruffles your feathers or says something to you, you're just going to quit. You're just going to stop. Let me just tell you something. Committing to someone is not easy. Schedules even conflict. If your time doesn't work out with their time, you just say, well, obviously God doesn't want this to happen. No, you work it out. My accountability partner and I, we have rough schedules. His name's Brian. He's in seminary. I'm in seminary. He has a full-time job. I have a full-time job. He has a family. I have a family. We're busy all the time. And there are some weeks where we're not able to talk and hold each other accountable. But sometimes I have to find a little time and I call him and I take initiative. Sometimes he takes initiative because he has the time and he calls me. And so it's not about what somebody else is going to be doing for you all the time. It's how are you going to help yourself in the accountability relationship. Just because somebody doesn't call you or text you doesn't mean they don't want to, maybe because they're busy. And if you really cared about your own life, you're going to text them, you're going to call them, you're going to see what's going on. Why aren't they holding you accountable? But you have to be committed to the process because the person is going to let you down. It's just going to happen. Not because they want to, but because it's not easy at times. And then the third caution, number 3, community isn't just coming to church each week. For some of you, this is all you're going to do your entire middle school and high school career. But I need you to hear me on this. Everybody look up here. If the only thing that you do is come to church, even every week, even twice a week, it ain't going to cut it. All right, this is what we're going to do. High school students. If you're in high school right now, stand up. Go. High school students only. I want you to look at me right now. If you do not have someone pouring into you, and you don't get it fixed quick, fast, and in a hurry, then you're going to fall off the map spiritually. For some of you in here, if you're not serving somewhere, if you're not giving yourself for Christ, and all you are about is just being poured into, it's kind of like the sea called the Dead Sea. Because the Dead Sea is poured into, but guess what? It doesn't pour out. That's why it's called the Dead Sea. Now, if you want to be like the Sea of Galilee, where it's poured into and also it's being poured out, it's giving, it's taking and giving, then you need to get it worked out. Listen, guys, some of y'all, you're great kids. You're awesome. But there may come a day that even as involved as you are right now, it's going to go away. You're going to fall. I'm telling you. It's going to happen. Have a seat. Middle schoolers, stand up. Now, your excuse is, I got all the time in the world. I got 4, 5, 6 years, Ben. I got 4 years. I ain't even in high school yet. Listen, if you don't get it on your mind right now, that you need to at least get into a small group. Try to make it as much as you possibly can. Most of you guys, it's here. Y'all go to church here, but the only time you come is at 11 o'clock service because you want to sleep in. Well, you keep sleeping in one day, and you keep on sleeping in, you're going to die. And you're going to sleep in for church. And you're going to sleep in for everything that is of Christ. So go ahead. Don't even set that excuse. Make it a point. I mean, it's 9:30. It's not 7:30 like school or 8 o'clock. You get extra sleep. For those of you who are in middle school and you don't serve, listen, start thinking about serving. Because by the time you graduate, if you're not serving, if you're not being poured into, listen to me, you're going to graduate from your faith when you graduate high school. I'm telling you, it's just the way it's going to be. Have a seat. High schoolers, you need to show them how to do that. Middle schoolers, you should look up to the high schoolers to do that. And I hope that we do that. I hope that God challenges all of us to grow in our walk with Christ. If you want to grow in your walk with Christ, listen, you've got to plug yourself in to a small group or accountability. You've got to. Again, I could care less about numbers. I care more about lives. And if you're not pouring yourself in, listen, it's going to kill you. I don't really know another way to say that. But if you choose to do so, no longer are those things going to be cautions, they're going to be crowns. So the next three, I'm going to end on a positive note here. 3 crowns with committing to community. Now, I'm not saying that if you do this is not the prosperity gospel. Like, if you do this, then great things are going to happen to you. Maybe not, but it will be beneficial for you. I'm just calling them crowns for tonight. So the first one, it kind of goes along with number 1. Okay, living in close relationship with others can be difficult, but if we do, okay, number 1 here is we'll become sharper, stronger, and more fruitful. It can be difficult, but if we do live in community, we will become sharper, stronger, and more fruitful for Christ. The Bible promises us that living in community is way better, is always better. Look at Colossians 1:10. It says, "Then the way you live will always honor and please the Lord, and your lives will produce every kind of good fruit. All the while, you will grow as you learn to know God better and better." That's the very first thing. You will become sharper, stronger, and more fruitful if you let somebody in your life to hold you accountable, to walk with you, to, small group. Okay, it's not all about this big service kind of thing. Number 2, as far as number 2, going up, committing to a group or a person isn't easy, but it's essential. It's not easy, but it is essential. But why is it important? Why is it so essential? So that you don't fall back into temptation like we talked about last week in 2 Timothy 2:22. That's why it's important. It's that important so that you don't fall back into that same sin over and over and over, and every single time get deeper and deeper and deeper in sin, and it's just going to kill you. So it's not easy, but it is essential. And number 3, it's about having meaningful relationships that make us more like Christ. If you look at number 3 above, it says community isn't just coming to church each week. It's more about having meaningful relationships that make us more like Christ. That's what it's all about, guys. It's about us being made more like Christ. Let me ask you a question. Are you more like Christ today than you were at the start of the school year last year? If the answer is no, which I'm sure there's at least one, there's the reason why. Because you don't have anybody pouring into you. There's no kind of accountability at all in your life. There's no one spurring you along to love and good deeds. There's nothing. And if that's the only thing, if that's one of the big reasons why, it's easy to fix. You just got to take initiative. You just got to start caring a little bit. So think about it. You know what, guys? It's easy to lose hope when you're alone. Alone doesn't mean better. Because you know those people that are alone and their lives are, you can tell it just by the way they live. Some of you in here, you may be alone. You may feel alone. You may need some encouragement. And God made the church, this church, every church, to be that encouragement. Listen to me, friends. Listen. Don't stop coming to church because there's hypocrites in the church. Listen, we are all hypocrites. That doesn't mean we just stay out there and just live our lives. The whole point of coming is to make us less hypocrites. I'm a hypocrite at times. Why? Because I sin. I make Christ look bad. Do I mean to? No. Sometimes I do. It's because I'm simple. Most of the time I don't try to. But you got to understand that there are people, myself, small group leaders, college students, they're all around here. You can tell who those people are that just love Jesus, that really want to encourage you. They want to pour into you. The question is, do you want that back? Is it that important to you? Now listen, most people when they preach on these verses, it's all about increasing church attendance. Don't neglect meeting together. Yeah, bring more people. It's all about numbers. Listen, it's not about that. I want you to underline this one last word at the top of your outline in Hebrews 10. And this huge word here is on the second line on the right. It's but. I want you to underline but. It's kind of a funny word. It's a very important word. It says, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but what? But encouraging one another. Listen, it's not about just coming to church. It's about encouraging each other when you're here at the church. If we attend church services but fail to encourage each other, we've missed the whole point of this passage. And so listen, I don't know where you are today. I know that there are times I've been going to church for a long time. But there are times when I need to be encouraged. I don't care how long you've been going to church. You need to be encouraged. And let me just tell you something. There are a lot of people in here that love you. Me being one of them. And so as Heath comes up and sings this last song, I'm going to challenge some of you just to come down, to get out of your seat, and just to come share your struggle, how you need to be encouraged. Because I want you to know that this church right here, not that any other church doesn't, but this church loves you. And we want to encourage you. And I'm giving you an opportunity right now. I'm available. I want to. I want to pray with you. I don't care if you cry all over my shirt. That's fine. Because some of you guys need to cry. Some of you guys are making me cry because I see how you acted the entire service. And it just seems like you don't really care about your life. Well, maybe it's because you don't have life. You're dead. You need Christ. I'm here for that too. So as we get ready to stand, I'm praying that if you need encouragement, if you need to be spurred along to love and good deeds, if you need to be encouraged to attend small group or get accountability, listen, go ahead and start here. Nobody's going to laugh at you. Nobody's going to talk about you. And if they do, if I find out, I'll confront them. Because I care about you. So as we get ready to sing this song, I'm praying that I can give some encouragement, some love to somebody. Heath, if people keep coming and playing, or keep coming up, just play the song over again. If there's nobody here, he'll end, he'll pray. We'll go to Wendy's, we'll have a great time fellowshipping, everybody's invited. But let's not worry about Wendy's when we can worry about worshiping right now. So pray with me. Father, I pray that this church would be all about spurring each other along to love and good deeds. That we can't do good deeds if we don't have love. We might can do good things, but we can't fully do good without love. I pray that we encourage each other, because we know that the day is drawing near, that you're getting ready to come back. And we don't know when that is, but it could be right now. It could be in 5 minutes. It could be in an hour. It could be in 10,000 years. We don't know. But we do understand this, is that each day goes on. It's drawing near. So while we're here, may we encourage each other, love each other. And as we leave here, that we would be encouraging to others, that we would love others. Because as in 1 John 4:19, it says, we love because you first loved us. Shower your love on us, Lord. Help us to love others the way you love us. Jesus, I praise you. I thank you for putting the people in my life to hold me accountable, to spur me along, to have those hard conversations with me. And I pray that these students would pick up on it a whole lot quicker than I did. So maybe this is just the first step. Somebody's just going to step out on faith and begin that process of being spurred along. So we love you. We praise you. In Jesus' name. And all God's people said.